And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition here of the Crank Gather Season 2 Playoffs Day number 1. Your invitational, your Team League Invitational Tournament. I'm of course your VIP. With you, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the ByuN chats, and by my plushies as well. Welcome, welcome, one and all. And I do apologize here, as we are a little bit late to the party when it comes to this replay cast. We were scheduled to broadcast this yesterday, if you recall. If not even 2 days ago, my apologies. We were scheduled to cast this 2 days ago, but we did fall a little bit behind schedule. Why is that? As my birthday. 29th of October was my birthday, so unfortunately did decide to take the day off, so we did miss out on some days of casting as a result. So we are going to be catching up. We're going to be catching up with said replays, with said coverage of the Crank Gather Season 2. For those that weren't here, we were covering the preliminary stage and the group stage already, and now we have to catch up with the playoffs, of course. So playoffs, as that is going to be, I believe, 3, 4, 5 days of playoff action. It's going to be quite a lot of StarCraft, quite intense. For those that are maybe a little bit unfamiliar with the format or with this tournament in general, it is going to be a 6-team invitational, which teams were invited. We had Team Liquid, Team Vitality, BASILISK, Shopify, Streamer Zone, and Team Liquid. 6 teams were invited into the main event, but we've already said goodbye to some of those teams. We're here in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs, and we have our top 4 teams remaining. It is going to be BASILISK alongside Shopify facing off in the upper bracket, alongside Team Falcons and Team Liquid. Team Vitality and Streamer Zone, they're out. They got knocked out in the group stage, which we already did cover ourselves, of course, and now we're here to cover the upper bracket semifinals. I say upper bracket because the playoff bracket is double elimination. Here we go. So we have plenty of games, plenty of matches. That's why the playoffs are 5 days. 5 days of playoff action. Someone was asking in the chat, when was this played? Originally 2 days ago. 2 days ago. So again, we're a little bit late to the party, 2 days late. It actually coincided with the 29th of October, which again was my birthday, so I wasn't able to cast it. Smooch. So we're catching up, man. We're catching up. Aye. But here we go. When it comes to the lineups, let's catch up with it. Let's go. Let's switch our scenes over and catch up with those lineups here. Now, this is a Team League format, which means we do submit lineups ahead of time. So we have BASILISK versus Shopify coming up first here in our initial series, in our initial day 1 matchup, and we have a unique format. So if you were here for the preliminary stage, if you were here for the group stage, you would know that these were best of 5s. These were best of 5s, but now coming into the playoffs, these are best of 9s. Aye, papi. So best of 9s are ahead of us here instead. As a result, the format is going to be a little bit more unique here. So very quickly, first things first, we do have Serral. Serral's going to be the starting player, is going to be going up against Harstem in the first round. If you notice though, we do actually actually reveal the first 4 lineups. We have Serral versus Harstem, we have Reynor versus ByuN, we have the 2v2 duo of Serral and Trigger versus Harstem and ByuN, and we have Trigger versus Scarlett. Now, a best of 9 is first to 5 wins. We're revealing only 4 matches. I mean, this is how we were doing it for the best of 5s as well. You'd reveal the first 4 matches, and then you'd only play the ace match if you need to. The way this format works is that you play out these matches will be played regardless of score, of course, because you can't win with only 4 wins. So all 4 matches are going to be played. Once they are done, then the teams will reveal and will decide on an additional 3 matches. So 3 more matches are going to be revealed after that. 3 more lineups specifically. Whether we have to go through all them all, I mean, depends on the score, of course, but basically we're going to be recycling the players, as of course rosters are quite limited here for teams themselves. Going to be recycling players, or resetting essentially, quote unquote, for the next 3 matches. It's going to be Dream and Scars, Gem Garden again, and Andromeda. That's going to be another 2v2 in that kind of like refreshing, that re-revealing of said lineups as well. So another 2v2 match. So that is going to be the format here. We play out our first 4 games, then we reveal 3 more, and then if we need to, we'll reveal the final set of games as well, or the final game, I should say. And then we get to the ace match, where, you know, anything could be possible. It'll be crazy, man. It'll be crazy. But initially, we have our first lineup here. So Serral vs Harstem is going to be the first series, the first best of 1. I should also emphasize that. If you're unfamiliar with Team League matches, with Pro League format, each individual lineup here is a best of 1, leading and contributing to the greater best of 9. So Serral versus Harstem, followed by Reynor versus ByuN. That's going to be a spicy ZBT. We have got the 2v2 duos here. Now, something that I did notice, and I'm sure you noticed as well, is that I was praising during the group stage and during the preliminary stage as well, that for Shopify, they have the best 2v2 team in the league, or one of the best, arguably. And that was Harambo. That was Harstem and Lambo. If you noticed, Lambo is not a part of the lineup. As a result, at least it's possible here that Lambo is unavailable, right? Lambo is unavailable, so he's not there joining Harstem in the 2v2. He's not in the original lineup. Scarlett is there instead. So without Lambo, I mean, that's going to be a key part of Shopify's team that is no longer available. I will say that this means that the 2v2 roster for Shopify is a little bit weaker now without Lambo. Yes, ByuN is, I would say, an overall stronger player, but the teamwork and the synergy and the experience that Lambo and Harstem have together as a 2v2 duo, I mean, that I feel like that surpasses like the raw skill of ByuN here. So it's going to be a bit of a shakier 2v2, I feel like, for Shopify. Best of luck. Hope they can work together well enough to bring it to Serral and Trigger. Now, it's also possible that maybe Lambo is running late, and maybe Lambo would be available for the remainder of these matches in the once we get up to game 5. Like once we get up to game 5, once we reveal the remaining 3 lineups and the reveal of what 3 players are going to be added here to the remaining 3 matches, it's possible that Lambo might arrive in time and play in those. But for the time being, my assumption is that Lambo is unavailable to compete in today's broadcast in this series. Just as a heads up. But of course, you have that duo, and then we have Trigger versus Scarlett. A bit of an NA Canadian match on Mothership. Oh boy. First things first, though, we're stepping into Tourmaline. Also, if you notice, all these maps are TLMC21 maps. We feature them plenty of times here on the channel, so you should be somewhat familiar with these maps. Let's go. Basically, my attack. No. I'm your papi. Ay, ay, ay. But here we go, we're getting into our best of 9 and spawning in the right hand corner of Tourmaline. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Shopify Rebellion from the land of the Netherlands. It is a Harstem. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player, representing BASILISK from the land of Finland. It is Serral. Here we go. Here we go, as we are getting into this. So far, Harstem going to be setting up on the low ground as to be expected. Serral opening up pool first, actually. Okay, my eyes are on Serral here, going for an abnormal start instead of hatch gas pool. But welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline, there's nothing really too special about it. I will say that the rush distance by ground is very direct, and we have seen players struggle to defend against all-ins. Like 3 base all-ins and 2 base all-ins do hit very hard here on Tourmaline, just because of how open the entrance to the natural and third bases here on the left hand side, and of course how open the entrance is here on the right hand side as well. So very open. Likewise, when it comes to direct pushes across the map, there's no ramps, there's no points of elevation, there's no easy ways to slow down an army, to slow down a push, as you would otherwise see on other maps. So aggression is going to be favored here. The one downside of aggression, as it was pulled first, we have Lings on the way, delayed gas. So gasless or delayed gas opener here by Serral. 6 Lings are in production. Interesting. We'll see how much pressure he can apply. Harstem going for a delayed probe scout. That is going to be a cyber core into probe scout across the map. As a result, these Lings are already moving out across the map. The probe was just spotted by the Overlord, and we can either avoid the probe or just rush through. And it looks like we will barely avoid the probe. So nice movement here by Serral. He does avoid the scout for as long as possible. Lings, they get across the map instead, and there's no zealot, which means this pylon is under threat. Oh boy. So Harstem's being punished for being a little bit greedy. Now he scouts, he sees, he knows what's going on. We'll see how he does respond. He turns back around, and Lings, they will soon arrive. They're going straight for said pylon. Going for the wall off. Probe moves in. Ooh, does try to wall off, and barely does. Whew, clutch moves out of Harstem, does fully wall off. The cyber core will be broken, but the adept will pop out. Again, that could have been disastrous. Breaks through the wall. Adept has arrived. Lings, they make their way into the main. As more Lings do make their way through. How many probe kills? With good enough control, Harstem should not lose any workers. Shouldn't. He's also won so far. That was at the natural. Lings are going to be zoned away. And Harstem should defend as he... Oh, God! Oh my god. Will not lose the second probe. And I spoke too soon. Second probe does go down. And with that, also a full wall. Yeah, an awkward setup here. He can't cancel the Stargate. He has to kill his own pylon. Ay, ay, ay. So a bit of a shaky defense here from Harstem. We do see Serral forcing mistakes. And Serral will go for his own third base. Late gas, yes, but into link speed. Droning off from here. And it doesn't really have to worry about any harassment until the pylon goes down. And the Overlord sees everything. So Serral's looking quite comfortable here. You can re-drone, re-saturate, and the initial lings they have, in a way, paid for themselves. Killing 2 workers, forcing this, which again delays Adept harass. These Adepts, they typically should be across the map. And from here, it's on Serral to drone up and get ready for the delayed Oracle and delayed Adept harass. Or really just delayed Adept harass. As the Oracle moves out. Does move out. We do have the Evo Chamber at the Serral, so it's going +1 melee into Ling Hydra, into Ling Bane Hydra. And we mentioned before that 3 base all-ins, they hit very hard here on Tourmaline, and that's what's going to be on the back of my mind for Serral. To be hyper aggressive on 3 bases. We'll get there. But now he's joining. Lings, they fan out across the map. We have our double Oracle hitting the natural. Means they pull away. The follow-up here going for a faster Robo. Okay. No Forge, Gateways, Robo alongside the Twilight Council. We're going into delayed Archon drop with High Templar. Or are we going for something more sinister here? I mean, it's been a shaky start for Harstem, so he's going for something more quirky. We'll see if this leads into a Templar Archives, into High Templar, into an Archon drop, or if this leads into something else. Lings, oh, they get a full surround. They surround both Adepts. Oof, brutal pickups. Not like this. Yeah, all 3 Adepts are going to be going down. And there it is, as we assume, Templar Archives into Archon drop. So this is a delayed Archon drop setup. This build was very popular at the start of the year amongst the European Protosses. I mean, Harstem is from Europe, so it makes sense. It's been a while since we've actually seen this. Actually, I think this is the first time I'm seeing this on the latest patch. But basically, you go Twilight Council, Robo, into Templar Archives, into the Warp Prism. By the time the Prism gets across the map, you can warp in High Templar, and then you can morph those into Archons. So you go for a delayed Archon drop. That's designed to get some economic damage, harass the Queens, harass the Overlords, deny creep, and maintain some kind of presence while you build up back at home. Oh. Assuming that this was meant to be a War Prism first, does go for the Immortal instead, which means Harstem will not be active. Yeah, he's going to be stuck at home. So, delayed War Prism harass here by Harstem. The problem here, if he's going Immortal first, now we have the Archon, sorry, we have the High Templar. Oh, no, sorry, my apologies, it was Prism first. Did miss it. So Prism first, so now we can harass across the map. This needs to get some damage done though. The reality here is that Harstem, he's had a really shaky start. He's had a really shaky game. And my concern is that Serral, he's shown up to 63. He's drawn up to 3 base saturation, and here comes the all-in. Yeah, he's already done droning. Like, he's already finished. Overlord speed is on the way. Serral, he has a 4th base just for lava. Serral, he's not going to drone up any further. He's going for the all-in. I assumed it was Evo Chamber into +1. It was, but now we're going straight into Roaches, into a Roach Queen drop or German Taxi 3 base all-in. So Serral is going for the 3 base all-in. I mean, we mentioned how 3 base all-in are favored on this map. Like, they hit even harder on Tourmaline, and they're even more difficult to defend. And it's going to be a tough hold for Harstem. He does snipe an Overlord, which is nice. Revelation should confirm what's happening. There we go, Overlord speed kicks in. Harstem knows we need a wall of shield batteries. So far, we have 2 cannons, 1 shield battery at the 3rd. We have 1 shield battery here at the natural. Storm is halfway done. It's going to be a tough hold. Well, let's go. And again, we're just walking across the map. And as I mentioned before at the start of the game, specifically on this map, like, I mean, there's just a direct path, right? There's a direct path across the map. One of the drop lords goes down. Going for 2. Oh, doesn't quite get it. Stasis goes off. Very nice stasis trap, buying some time. Storm is almost done. Another trap goes off. Serral, not paying attention, not noticing. Does notice the stasis traps. And Storm, it looks like it will finish in time for this fight. And we'll see if it's going to be enough. Because Serral is almost maxed. He's almost maxed out. And Storm zones. Buys a bit of time. There's what, almost 2 storms left. Down to 1. 1 storm remaining. Yeah, there's 1 storm remaining here. At the same time, Ling dropping. Oh god. Ling dropping to the main base. 22 probes go down. That is critical damage. Oh god. Yeah, the Ling drop was brutal. The army comes in. That was the final storm. It does run through the storm though. So extra damage. But in a way, the damage has already been done. With that Ling drop into the main. So let's do back up. And we can maybe buy some time for an extra NG overcharge for another storm. Oh, good. Yeah, Mortal goes down, Archon goes down. There's barely an army standing. Down to 3 stalkers, sorry, 4 stalkers. 4 stalkers, 1 adept. Serral also having a hard time sending his money. I mean, he sent his queens over, so it looks like he was missing some injects, but regardless, things are coming from behind. They collapse on the army. The final storms. We stand in the oh god. We stand in the storms. They do almost max damage. I mean, hey, that softens up the army quite a bit. But Serral can afford these trades. Like that was maybe the best fight that Harstem could have hoped for. Serral, he stood in the storms. He lost a massive chunk of his roaches. Harstem, he can hang in there as a result. You gotta respect the storms. Even roaches, they can't tank him back. There it is, GG. GG gets called. Serral, he will take the game, and we have a lead for Basilisk. GG. GG well played. Again, it was just a really rocky start for Harstem, unfortunately. Losing his adepts, losing any harassment potential, and as well on top of that, going into his own Archon drop follow-up. Bearing in mind that this is kind of like delayed harassment, and Serral was very comfortable. I think the only unit that he lost leading into that all-in was an Overlord. He lost 1 Overlord. He lost 2 Overlords technically as he was moving out across the map, and that was just not enough, right? That was not enough damage. Again, there was no Adept harass. The Oracle harass wasn't successful either, so no drones had gone down in the lead up to that all-in. GG. GG well played. And with that, Serral does take a lead for Basilisk, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Up next, if you recall, Reynor versus ByuN. They're going to be facing off on Ruby Rock. There's also a lot to get into in regards to this map as well. So here we go. Best of 9, yes. If you recall, I did mention at the start of the broadcast, best of 9. I was explaining the format of the tournament, explaining that the first 4 matches are revealed, the first 4 matches in the lineup are revealed, and then after these 4 matches conclude, then we reveal the next 3 matches. The teams to actually decide on which 3 players will be fielded next. But here we go. Here we go, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we do have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. Clan War Team League, or I should say Invitational Team League. And in the bottom right hand corner we have the red Zerg player. The red Zerg player, we have the Italian Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. As we are settling in, Reynor does go hatch a gas pool, standard open out of Reynor. Meanwhile, ByuN going to Rex Reaper. So 2 Rex Reaper, winding it back. Welcome to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock is one of the more aggressive maps of the map pool. Again, it is similar to Tourmaline. I will say that the rush distance by ground is shorter on this map, so it's a shorter rush distance. And you can see here a very accessible natural and third base. Coming to the third base, you do have the attack path towards the top side. This is more of a harassing path, I should say. The main attack path is here. You can open up even further with by knocking down these rocks, opening up the ramp, but again, it is a much more accessible third base and much more accessible accessible natural as well, as we have another entry point and another ramp coming into the natural. So again, the third and natural a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more exposed. Similarly to the previous map Tourmaline, the rush distance on the attack path from third base to third base is very direct. Now the difference being, one, shorter rushes. I mean, you can see it's one screen, like third base to third base, like 1.5 or 1 1/3 screen away, so very short rush distance. But at least we do have some ramps, some points of elevation. We do have some side blockers as well, so like this does help a little bit when it comes to engaging ahead of time, at least a little bit more compared to Tourmaline. But that rush distance is another big factor. As a result, I would say the 3 base all-ins are also very strong on Ruby Rock, similarly to Tourmaline. And this goes both ways, of course. 3 base all-ins applicable to ByuN and ARAX, right? And ARAX would hit very hard on this map. But I should also emphasize that ARAXs are a little bit weaker in the current meta because of the buff to the Baneling, right? So Ling Bane is more viable, ARAXs are a little bit weaker. A lot of it will depend on how much damage ByuN deals early on. As the Reapers move out, Reynor did indeed expand, which means ByuN could invest into an extra wave of Reapers, but he has yet to confirm. Yeah, he didn't scout. He did not check. We have a third CC on the way behind this. And he only did invest into 3 Reapers. And so far, this has not been worth it. Ideally, you want to be delaying the expansion of Reynor, but Reynor, he has his third. His third is up. Queen zone away. ByuN looking for damage. Doesn't get into the mineral line. And again, the third base is untouched. So I will say that coming into the early game here, Reynor's in a better position. The 2x Reaper was unsuccessful. And now we follow this up with a 3cc 2-on-1 from ByuN, and likewise Reynor can now start to drone. Link speed kicks in, Reynor's droning up. Reaper Hellion does move out. And again, Reynor, he's doing the chase. Looking to keep up. Really, ByuN, he can't really achieve too much without Stim. Like, Stim is halfway done. Once it finishes, Medevac should be out, and then he can go for some drop play. Nice setup here, nice movement out of Reynor. He does lock down the Reapers. Yeah, locks it down. Hellion falls, Reaper as well. Very nice movement, very nice cleanup here by Reynor. Shuts down the harassing army. And now Reynor has to get ready for the eventual drop play. So we're still a couple of seconds off. Medevac production has only just now begun, so around 5:30 is when ByuN should be moving out. So Reynor knows that he can drone until that time. So he's droning. We have a safety Baneling Nest on the way. So that's going to be a Baneling Nest before the lair, before the Eva chamber as well. So very safe play out of Reynor. This means that if ByuN did go for a Hellbat 2-on-1, then Reynor would be safe against it. We know that that isn't the case, but if that were the case, then Reynor would be ready. The downside, of course, is that Reynor's upgrade is going to be delayed. His lair is also going to be delayed as well. So delayed lair, delayed upgrades. Here comes the drop at 5:30, 5:25. Now Reynor can make army. So we have extra lings on the way. Queens are amassing. We have 7, soon to be 8 queens. ByuN does catch an Overlord. Trying to find some damage. Can he get a queen? Oh, gets one. Okay. Yeah, late transfuse. Yeah, late transfuse here. 2 queens go down. Very sneaky pickoffs here by ByuN. Reynor was not paying attention. Did not react in time. And ByuN, he needs these pickoffs. At the same time, we have Reynor. He does run up to 63. He's got his 4th base on the way, but as you can see here, no drones. No drones yet. He's massing up a lot of Ling Bane. His goal here should be to break this army to gain map control, and we'll see where he goes from there. He's getting ready for the 7-minute push. He's getting ready for it. That's for Stim. Stim is being forced out. More Ling Bane is amassing. As Reynor splits off his army. And now he's joining. Yeah, now he has enough. Now he's joining up. He has recognized, okay, ByuN is not pushing. He's not pushing. He's only going for drops. He's leaving his tanks back at home. So Reynor knows he is free to drone and free to take up into Hive Tech. So very careful play so far to Reynor. Nice target firing. Obviously, as we can see from the side of ByuN, he chose not to 8 racks. ByuN is eating a 4th CC. He's going to be taking his gases, working on 2-2. Like, ByuN is also building up into a longer game as well. So headed towards, we're embracing that mid game. Nice target firing on all the Bailings. ByuN trades well. We can see that Reynor, he's not going into Ultras. He's going Ling Bane into Hydra, into Lurker Tech. Okay. So Hydra Lurker Viper is going to be the Hive Tech of choice. Not Ultras. Likewise, ByuN, he is yet to tech up himself. No Ghost Academy, is still sticking with fire. Like almost pure Marine as well. Let's be careful. Oh! Nice bait on the mine shot. Reynor, he controls well. Viper production has begun. And again, we're embracing a longer and later game. So far, we're liking Reynor's position a little bit more just because of his tech of choice. He's getting there, right? Lurker Den, Lurker upgrades, Hive is done, Vipers are just now popping out as well. ByuN, he has yet to incorporate any ghosts himself, so his lead up into the late game is still a little bit stifled. It's still not quite in full swing. So no Academy is still mainly Marine Widowmine. It's still very much a fragile army. Reynor's keeping up. And Reynor trying to lure him in. So far, nice red of Bailings. Ooh, they do connect. You know, so stepping. Despite that, not enough Ling Bane. Yeah, there's barely not enough Ling Bane here. The Marines, they do rush forward. There's no links to support. Oh my god. And again, a shaky fight here for Reynor. With reinforcements, looks like he barely has enough. Just barely. And Reynor holds. He does hold on. Not the cleanest fight here for Reynor. He did bleed out a lot of Ling Bane, a little bit unnecessarily, but just because he was waiting for his reinforcements. And ByuN is just rallying. Yeah, ByuN is just rallying in. Reynor trying to force some friendly fire. ByuN is rallying everything across the map to break him here and now. I do think this is very necessary for ByuN. We were just talking about how ByuN isn't really set up for a longer and later game. So ByuN, he wants to end it. Ooh, but he gets surrounded. Beautiful surround there from Reynor. ByuN gets caught out. Vipers are amassing, getting ready here with their blinding clouds, with their power bombs. Now here come the tanks, but there's nowhere near as much support this time. There is a minefield. Feel the setup. Yo, do you think Reynor just tried to abduct there? did you see that movement? Smudge. Nice control by ByuN. Still rallying in, still here to end the game. And again, now it makes sense why ByuN, he never got a Ghost Academy, right? He never got an Academy. Never tried to get into that late game. As he's trying to corner the army here, Ling Bane doesn't connect. And ByuN, he out-trades. Yeah, here he is out-trading, shuts down all the Ling Bane, getting on top of the lurkers. It's close. Can he get on top of them? Oh my god, the tank barely goes down. There's one lurker left. Reynor is barely holding on here. Did retain those Vipers. And ByuN finally backs off. ByuN, he backs off. Now, finally, 12-minute Ghost Academy. Again, this Academy was never intended. ByuN, the goal was to end the game. Then and there. It was to end the game, was to kill Reynor. He fails to do so. Now, ByuN has to back off. Now, he has to tech up. And Reynor can now start to actually embrace his hive tech. The upgrades are done. He's got lurker range. He's got his Vipers. Now, he can actually start to morph in more lurkers. Nice reactions. Oh, it does unfortunately stack up his workers. So 4 drones go down. Nice damage here by ByuN. ByuN pushing through the center. Speaking of lurkers, there's only 5, not too many. Lurkers, they can shut this down, but they're not quite in position. And ByuN is breaking through. He's breaking through lurkers. Again, they're out of position. They're coming in from the south side. Lurkers pushing forward. Ooh. Takes the manchus to the face. Nice firebomb, and Reynor, he is holding. Yeah, chasing the Marauders as well. He sees how low they are. Marauders are so low. Ooh. Oh no, he's stacking! 2 men of X go down. He stacks on the parabomb. ByuN making some mistakes. He stacks up. Reynor, he's holding on, and you can see here the lurker count is getting slowly bigger and bigger here. It's getting larger, building up more lurkers. Likewise, you can see because of how small this map is, there's barely any creep on the map. There's what, 1, 2 active tumors. So very little map presence here for Reynor. Oh! Shot doesn't quite go off. Nice connection on the Bailings, very nice. But lurkers are moving in, getting within range, and this planetary should go down. Yeah, more Bailings rolling forward. Zoning back the bio, planetary falls, and you can see the power spike of Reynor. Once he survived the aggression of ByuN, once he survived like the borderline all-in, he's in full swing, takes out the expansion. ByuN is stuck on 4 bases, and ByuN should not expand from here. It should be on Reynor to make sure that doesn't happen. Morphing in 7 more lurkers. Lurkers are on their own. Reynor trying to rotate. Yeah, scanning, looking for Reynor. Reynor trying to read ByuN's movements. So Reynor, he rotates back to the top side. Because they do get here in time. Oh. Reynor does defend. Snipes going off on the lurkers. ByuN gets zoned away. He gets zoned away. Ling Bane. Oh, does he crash in? He does. Oh my god. Those are 4 ghosts going down. Planetary falls once again. And as we mentioned, like, ByuN should never expand. Like, in this kind of game stage, that's already twice now that the 5th base has fallen. Lost the 5th base. Does trade decently here against these lurkers. Does trade well. Also, what, 5 lurkers going down. Forcing Reynor to react. 17 lurkers fall in total. Ay, ay, ay. catching another. And here comes the ByuN's. That is okay, not quite. I was like, is he floating over his main? Orbital's flying over. ByuN desperately wants a 5th. And Reynor, he has not rebuilt his lurkers. He just lost 15 and switching into pure Ling main Hydra. And once again, his goal should be to break the army and break the expansion. Reynor, he's rallying over. See ByuN, he's distracted. Distracted by the run by. ByuN, he pulls back. Reynor moves in. Now, thankfully, this time ByuN can lift his orbital. Can lift up. So far, Mind Shots don't quite connect. Bailey's they roll in. They're going for the ghost. A bit of an overextension. Not Nothing Bane. Has to pull away. And now he can collapse in. Yeah, going for the mass power bombs. Landing on the medevacs. SCVs are going to be going down. That was what, 30 SCVs? Oh god. And they will go down. 32 SCV kills. Yeah, brutal losses there for ByuN. This time he saves the expansion because he can lift the orbital, but he will lose the mineral line. And this has been a foregone conclusion for quite some time. As you mentioned before, when the vase first fell, again, like, ByuN should never be able to expand without Reynor making some big mistakes. Nice catch on the ghost, and Reynor is snowballing out of control, shuts down the main army, chases down ByuN. And this all came down to how committed ByuN was earlier. It came down to ByuN's quote-unquote all-in, pushing into the 4th base of Reynor. GG gets called, and Reynor, he defends, he survives, he takes game number 2. Whew. GG. So GG, well played. Reynor does take down ByuN. A strong showing here from Reynor. As you mentioned, it all came down to that big massive push that ByuN was going for at Reynor's 4th base. It came down to that timing, that push. If you recall, we were emphasizing how ByuN, he did not get his Ghost Academy. He was hyper committed to that push, and he almost did it. Like, he almost broke through. Reynor was struggling to defend, but once he held on, that was kind of game then and there. Like, ByuN, he was late to the party, late when it came to his tech. That's why there was a big power spike when the lurkers kicked in, and ByuN had a late academy, a 12-minute academy instead. Was late to transition, late to tech up, and could never quite keep up that momentum or actually maintain a 5th base. GG. GG, well played. With that, we do have Reynor extending the lead for his team for BASILISK, and now we're getting ready for our next lineup here, our next setup of players. We're getting ready for the 2v2. Let's go, let's go. As a reminder, as we were emphasizing at the start of the broadcast, for this event, for this broadcast, Lambo, it looks like, was unavailable. Lambo, he was not a part of the original lineup. As a result, our assumption is that Lambo was just not available this day to compete. So because of that, there is no Lambo Harstem duo for the 2v2. Instead, it's going to be Harstem and ByuN for the first time. They are not typical 2v2 partners. They don't really have as much experience with each other either. So I'm a little bit concerned for Team Shopify Rebellion. They've had a rocky start so far, and yeah, they need to tighten up. They need something to go their way, but things are looking bleak for Shopify. They have to bring it back here and now in the 2v2. Oh boy. As we are loading into Gem Garden. Now, Serral and Trigger, they aren't the most infamous duo whatsoever, no, not at all, but they do have a lot of experience in 2v2, and that is something that ByuN does not have. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gem Garden, we have the red Zerg player. We have the Finnish Zerg, we have the Canadian Protoss, we have Trigger, we have Serral. Together, we have BASILISK. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have their opponents. We have the Teal Terran, we have the Blue Protoss, we have ByuN and Harstem, we have Shopify. Shopify Rebellion. Let's go, let's go. Of course, the fanfare should be broken for 2v2. They didn't work for that, so that's fine. But here we go, we're getting into our next matchup here. And again, the pressure's on Shopify. The pressure is very much so on Shopify. They've had a rocky start, and they got to bring it back here. And now, as we mentioned before, ByuN, he's much less experienced in 2v2 than every other player in this game. Like Trigger, Serral, Harstem, they play and they compete in a lot of 2v2 tournaments. ByuN less so. So we'll see if his 1v1 skill can carry him in the 2v2 format. Now, 2v2 does hit different, of course. The synergy with your teammate, harassing, working together, working in conjunction, it does matter that much more. Likewise scouting as well, of course. We'll see how our players will approach each other coming into Gem Garden. So far, Trigger moves out across the map to delay Harstem's expansion. Ooh, does get it. Harstem does get his natural. Trigger was unable to block. Behind this, we do see a hatch gas pull out of Serral. Protoss players are opening up. Harstem does have the more economic start compared to Trigger, true. Is more economic. Trigger trying to delay the CC of ByuN as well. It does delay for a couple of seconds, but both players are expanding. Now, if you have not seen Gem Garden before, we do have some pocket bases. The giant tumors, they do expire eventually just before the 8-minute mark. You can then take your natural expansions here, or you can take these pocket bases. They are somewhat accessible. We have double layered rocks on the top side. We have these mineral patches here towards the center as well. So there are ways to gain access to this space to harass, but early on, I'll be honest, we have yet to see anyone be able to break through this early on and deal any early game damage. So we have some pretty safe pocket expansions you can take as a fourth later on down the line. Meanwhile, we have our shared naturals. There are multiple entrances into the natural base, and we have these southern third bases as well. We often do see a lot of mid-game here on Gem Garden. We have our take of choice, Stargate open out of Harstem, meanwhile Twilight Council out of Trigger. The captain that can pull the win. The captain, he's got to lead, Pappy. That's what he's got to do. He's got to take charge. He has to direct ByuN. Let's go, Pappy. Let's go. Oh, that is a very fast lair. Okay. Serral is going to be rushing into a lair. With this faster lair, this can lead into Muta play. So this could be a fast 2-base Muta out of Serral. We'll keep an eye on our Zerg player. Otherwise, we could go for Drop Lord play or even Nidus play as well. Meanwhile, again, Twilight Council into Blink. We'll keep an eye on Trigger for a Gateway Explosion. But this insanely fast lair here is definitely piquing our interest. ByuN looks like he's going for a 2-1-1. Sorry, he's going for a 3-1-1. Okay, so delayed Medivacs, delayed drop play, fast stim. So this is going to be quite an aggressive mid-game here for ByuN once this really kicks in. Oracles are moving out. And we'll see what the lair was for. The lair does complete. And yep, 2-base Muta. So it was one of the options here. 2-base Muta is the take of choice. Oracle hits the main. Shield batteries in position. Going for the stasis. Trigger, does he notice? Oh, no! Oh, he does. He pulls away, but a little bit too late. Yeah, too little too late here. Massive connection. Nice start here for Harstem. Does weaken Trigger. Bearing in mind that Trigger had a late expansion to begin with, so this is even a worse blow for Trigger. Takes over the center. Now, what's important though, this is nice damage out of Harstem, but he needs to scout. Needs to confirm what's going on, as have we even seen the lair? No. You can see here the main base has not been scouted. They have no idea what Serral's up to. Now, another scary thing here about this version of 2v2, if you know anything about the 2v2 circuit that Thermal ran, and that other tournaments have run since then as well, they do use a mod, right? They do use a mod. A mod is used that does actually delay when you can trade resources, right? There's an extended period of time where you cannot trade resources with your opponent, as opposed to the base vanilla 2v2 game, which you can trade resources earlier on. So we could see Trigger feed Serral. We could see him feed Serral, and then Serral can have a boost of income, and then just make mass Muta. That is something that we saw between Lambo and Harstem in day one, where Lambo just fed Harstem and Harstem went for like a 10 gate, like 1 base, like Blinkstalker all in. It was crazy. So we've seen Harstem and Lambo already do that in this tournament, where Lambo was just a bank for Harstem. We can see the Trigger though, he is warping in his own army. Mute as they move out. They're going for the main, and you can see here no preparation, no turrets, no static defense. They have no idea that there are mutas. Likewise, blink is not yet done. Mutas, they do hit the main. ByuN does react quite quickly. Pulls away. It does pull away. Despite that, going to be bleeding out some Marines, some SCVs as well. Oof. Catching out a couple more. Those are 2 mutas. Then one muta to go down. Second muta falls. Ooh, and at the same time, Trigger does hit the front lines, going to try to force a cancel. It doesn't have enough though. Yeah, it does not have enough. Trigger's going to be zoned away, and so far, Shopify, they defend. They defend nicely, they defend well. And I'll be honest, BASILISK are not ready to defend. They're not ready to defend against a push. No! Serral's the miscontrol. He runs into the army. Bleeds out too many mutas, and here comes Shopify. We have Harstem and ByuN. They're pushing out across the map. Serral and Trigger, they're in trouble. They are in danger here. Mutas, they cannot fight head on. Another muta goes down. And so far, this rush into mutas wasn't worth it. It was not worth it. Sure, we killed 6 SCVs. That's nice and all, but the main army cannot be stopped. Yeah, we can see Serral going for the backstab, but he's catching reinforcements. Nice use of the mutas. Does pick up some Marines. Ooh, and Harstem did turn around for a moment there. Yeah, it did turn around. Catching out more of the fire, catching out more of the anti-air. Stalker's Marines going down. Trigger, he's trying to defend on his own. Does force field. Can he get on top of the tank? Barely can. Whew. Tank goes down. And shout out to Trigger and Serral, by the way. Trigger, he does defend on his own, and Serral, he does harass on his own. They both do well. They both pop off. And Trigger, he does a greater concave. Stasis does connect. Oh, so does the other. Brutal stasis traps. Serral comes in from behind, catching up ByuN. And Marines go down. Oof. Stalkers as well. And BASILISK. Oh my god. Yeah, nice teamwork here out of Serral and Trigger. They defend, they attack, they shut down the main army. And now Serral needs to hit critical mass and muta. They've hit critical mass. They snowball out of control. They collapse on the bio. There's 3 Marines left. There's a couple of Stalkers remaining. And they've done it. GG gets called. And BASILISK, Serral, and Trigger, they do take the game. They extend the lead for their team. GG. Whew, GG, well played. I was very concerned for Serral and Trigger after the mutas failed to get damaged and after mutas were getting caught out in the center of the map as well. Things were looking dire. Harstem and ByuN, they committed, which I think was the correct call to make. They just committed across the map. They sent it as hard as they could. But thanks to Serral's harassment, we saw that Harstem was distracted. Harstem, he pulled back, so did ByuN. They were both focusing on their base defense instead, as they had to save their reinforcements, defend specifically the 3rd base of Harstem. As a result, their push was delayed, their push was weakened, and Trigger did a great job holding on his own as well. With his force fields, with his concave, he was able to hold on, buy time, and eventually collapse on that main army. GG. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, BASILISK, they have a very, very comfortable lead here. They're up 3-0. They're up 3-0. Things are looking a little bit dire here for Shopify. I mean, a lot of this had come down to, I feel like, ByuN series earlier. Like, ByuN would be the player to kind of gain a little bit of momentum here for their team. Or even this 2v2 could have gone either way as well. For sure, for sure. Like, it was very close, it was very clutch. But in the end, it comes down to our next game here. Now, as a reminder, best of 9 is first to what? It's first to 5. So we still have more games ahead of us, still have more games to come. But up next, it is going to be a up next is going to be a best of 1 between who? Between Trigger and Scarlett. Oh boy. As I mentioned before, Lambo looks like he's not available today to compete in this team league match. So Lambert, he was not a part of the 2v2, and likewise Scarlett has stepped up to face up against Trigger, the Canadian versus Canadian matchup. Let's go. As we are loading into Mothership, a very large map, And coming into this, remember, this is Scarlett's second time competing in a very long time, as Scarlett has been on a hiatus, has recently returned. Another reason for this, if you recall, we spoke about this previously, but Scarlett, she is going to be competing in the Chinese show match, the celebration show match. If you weren't a part of the podcast, you might not know this, but the Chinese server is returning and they're going to be having a celebration. As a result, they're going to be inviting a bunch of players. That's why Oliveira has started laddering again, and I believe Scarlett has also been invited to travel to China to compete in that show match as well. Likewise, Scarlett's also going to be traveling to Stellarfest, so there's going to be a lot of matches, a lot of upcoming matches for Scarlett. So now she's back looking to get in form, looking to practice, and we'll see how she looks compared to Trigger. As spawning in the top left hand corner of Mothership, we have the Canadian Brodos player. We have the red Brodos representing BASILISK. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Canadian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Shopify. It is Scarlett. Here we go. Here we go, as we are going to be settling in. As we have our initial hatch gas pool. Standard opener so far to Scarlett, and Trigger does find Scarlett immediately. Remember, welcome to Mothership. Mothership is a 3-player spawn map. You can spawn in bottom side, top left, and top right as well. So there are 3 possible spawn locations. Trigger has found Scarlett. Scarlett likewise will soon find Trigger as well with the Overlord. We go. So now we are going to be settling in. Of course, shout out to Chijik as well. Chijik, they are the main sponsor of the tournament. That is why this was not casted live in English, because it is only allowed to be live casted on a Korean streaming platform. It cannot be live casted on Twitch or on YouTube. Just as a heads up. That's why we've been covering this via replays. I believe Wardy has also started to cover this via replays as well. Did also begin. Link speed is on the way. Scarlett pulls out a gas, and Scarlett is setting up for a third base and settling into a standard game. Meanwhile, Stargate opener out of Trigger. Now, we don't really expect to see Trigger really deviate too much. I do favor Trigger on Mothership. This is a very large map, a lot of bases to take as well. We'll see if Trigger can stabilize on 4 expansions. We'll see if Scarlett can try to break him. Another thing, of course, is Mutaplay. Mutaplay is more accessible. Spire play is more accessible because of the recent buff to the Spire, to the fact that it does finish up a little bit faster as well. So we could see Scarlett try to sneak out of Spire and try to catch Trigger with his pants down, but we'll see how Scarlett does approach this matchup. It's been a while since, again, we've seen her ZVP. We'll see. We shall see. When the 2v2 games will be uploaded to YouTube, these matches, whenever we stream, we're streaming on YouTube at the same time, so they're instantly available. They're all there. We stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so the votes are there as we speak. That episode gets into the middle line. So far, 2 drones do go down. Nice damage. Gets 2 workers. Tells me that. So on the website is live. It's so laggy for me. Yeah, it's depending on where you are in the world. Like, I believe it doesn't really lag for me, but I'm in Australia. I know that routing from Europe, if you happen to be in Europe or certain parts of the Americas, routing to Chijik is very inefficient. It's not really optimized for viewership outside of Korea, so it's not ideal. It's not ideal. So if you're lagging while watching Chijik, it's not your fault, right? Like, your internet's typically fine, it's stable. It's just the routing to the website is really poor. As double Oracle does get into the mineral line. So far, no major damage. Scarlett is going to be droning, is going to be saturating. Building up. What if setting VPN to Korea would help? It might. I'm not too certain, but it might help. As Trigger's going to be taking up. Getting into +1, getting into Blink. Yes, once again, Trigger does get into the middle line. Scarlett does not have much to defend, actually. Yeah, brutal damage. Brutal damage early on here. Scarlett has 4 Lings to defend. We have 12 more Lings on the way. Adepts shade into the middle line, and more drones should be falling. 6 drone kills. Ay. Now, what is scary is that these were only the initial Adepts. These are not... There's no glaives. There's no glaives, no additional warpins or anything like that. So with that, Scarlett does struggle getting into the mid-game here. 7 drone kills, and the follow-up is on the horizon. We have +1. We have Blink, getting into splash damage, getting into Storm. So Storm is going to be the splash damage of choice here for Trigger. Trigger looking very comfortable getting into the mid game. Scarlett is going to be going into +1 range into Roach production. This will catch me off guard though. We're going for an infestation pit. Okay. Now with this pit we can go into early infestors. We can tech up into hive tech as well. We'll see what the plan is moving forward for Scarlett. If Trigger was going for charge, if Trigger was going for a different composition, I could be thinking Swarm Host, but Swarm Hosts are typically not really too viable against Blink heavy play. So we're leaning towards safety infestors and faster hive. We'll see if Scarlett can get there. Oh, speaking of, it is going to be Stormhost. Okay. So as we were mentioning, Stormhost play can be really strong if your opponent did go for an Archon-based composition into Charge Archon, just because that's a very immobile composition. It can be harder to keep up with Stormhost and keep up with Nidus Worms. Against more of a Blink-heavy style, this can be difficult just because your Nidus Worms are going to be more vulnerable to the more mobile army of Blink Stalkers. This has potential, it does, but at the same time can be very risky here, depending on how active and how much control Trigger has, how much map control. Here we go, here comes the Nidus. Trigger does respond, Storm is done. So are being forced back. Stormhost on the way. At the same time, we have Road Ravager distracting Trigger. I'm sure he did hear said Nidus. And the Oracles, they do confirm. Yeah, the expansion is going to be denied. Locust Wave here towards the third base. Not bad. Trigger does defend against the main army, but can Scarlett get into the mineral line? Oh. And also, was that a kill? That was a kill on the Nexus. Kills on both bases. Okay. Yeah, both bases going to be going down. Nice pick here by Scarlett. And Trigger was otherwise distracted. Scarlett is maxed out. So far, the first Locust Wave has been solid. Oof. Has to be careful there. Bowser connecting. High Templar going to be going down. Yeah, massive losses here for Trigger, losing every single High Templar. And Scarlett's breaking through. Yeah, here comes the next Locust Wave. Scarlett will zone away. And Trigger is struggling. As you mentioned, I should not have lost that northern base. Was a brutal pickup. Immortal goes down. Trigger will clean up the main army, but the Locust Wave, the Stormhost did escape. Did get away. Speaking of, Link run right here into the third. Trigger moving out down to 0 High Templar, 0 Storms. This is a very necessary move out, but there are plenty of roaches to defend. Oh, I say that. Trigger trying to break his way through. Yeah, Trigger's all in. Trigger's all in. As time goes on, Scarlett, she's whittling away at the Stalkers. Trigger's running out of steam. Losing far too much here. Losses he can't afford. And Scarlett stepping up to the plate here. Again, Shopify has been struggling so much in this series so far. And not having Lambo, I was favoring Trigger 100% coming into this. But the Nidus play was worth it. Storm Hosts more than pay for themselves. And Trigger did have a very shaky defense. Now, is there a world? Can Trigger back off? Can he stabilize? I mean, if given enough time, can. The problem here is that Scarlett's max. Scarlett's max. Scarlett should be pushing time and time and time again. Scarlett should not be backing up. And can even afford to trade inefficiently. It just runs past us. Oh no, the move command! Yeah, brutal move command on the Stalkers. Locust Wave into the natural. Nexus does go down. And this is getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand. Yeah, too many losses here. Scarlett pokes in, pulls away. More probes going down in the main. Very nice damage. And we're going for the Nexus again. This time should fall. For the second time. Goes to the mineral line. Gets 18 probe kills. Brutal damage. Oh. Yeah, takes out the Nexus as well. And Trigger doesn't have anything. There's really nothing left here. There's a handful of High Templar, a handful of Stalkers. He's down to a half a base economy. Long distance mining. Just a brutal position here for Trigger. And again, it was like a big gamble going into the Swarm Host, but again, it was worth it. Was worth it. Did pay for itself. Trigger had a really shaky initial defense. If you recall, that was the moment where Trigger lost the northern base and the third at the same time. To lose two bases, it was crazy. As it was Lings that hit the fourth and the Locust Wave hit the third. And from that moment, Trigger never did recover. They're coming from behind. GG gets called, and Scarlett will put the first point on the board for Shopify. GG. And is this going to give momentum to Shopify, the momentum that they need to recover, to bounce back? Let's go. Let us go. Let's switch our scenes over here to catch up on the lineups, to catch up on the bracket itself. Whew, as we do have our updates here. There we go. We do have our updates. So again, this was almost looking like a clean sweep. BASILISK had a very strong start against Shopify, with Serral winning over Harstem, Reynor over ByuN, Serral and Trigger over the duo of Harstem and ByuN. But Scarlett has begun the comeback here. It takes the win over Trigger 1-0, puts a point on the board for Shopify. And now we're getting ready for our next set of, or for our next lineup. For our next set of players. Let's go. For those to remember, or I guess to reiterate, so for those that weren't here at the start of the broadcast, this is a best of 9. It's a best of 9 team league match constructed by all these best of 1s within it, of course. So far we're 4 games in, and these were the initial 4 matchups. This was the initial lineup that was revealed. Players that had time, they had like 24 hours, they had, well, actually more than that, they had some time to prepare, sorry, less than that, time to prepare for their matches, time to prepare for their lineups, for their opponents, for their maps as well. But because it's a best of 9, and because teams are quite limited in the size and capacity of how many players they have, now it's time for a reset. Again, you can only field 1 player once, of course. That's why we only had 1 game of Serral, 1 game of Reynor, 1 game of Trigger. We had the 2v2, but now we're here to kind of reset our rosters. Now we can refield players and get ready for the next 3 games. Let's go. Let us go. Bam. Beautiful. Okay. Oh my god. Sorry, our next 4 games, I meant to say. We have our next 4 games. So we have Dream and Scars. Trigger, he's gonna be playing it first against Harstem on Dream and Scars. We have Trigger versus Trigger and Serral once again, the same duo up against Harstem and Scarlett this time. do you think after the game on Gem Garden with Harstem and ByuN, Harstem was like, all right, I need a new teammate. So Harstem and ByuN, they only played that first game. They did lose, and Harstem is going to be playing with Scarlett instead, as they are going to be stepping in as that duo for Gem Garden. We do have Serral versus Scarlett on Andromeda, and we have Reynor versus ByuN, a rematch on 10,000 feet. Now, as a reminder, this next set of 4 matches, these are the lineups, of course, but we won't necessarily play all the games. Remember, it's a best of 9, first to 5. First to 5 does claim the win. BASILISK, they need 2 games. They need to win 2 games here to claim the win and to walk away as the victors here and to knock Shopify down to the lower brackets. Meanwhile, Shopify, they've got a long way to go here. They've got to win every game moving forward to try to force the ace match. Oh boy. It's going to be a rough road to travel here. I mean, technically they could win all the next 4 games and just win then and there before the ace match. We'll see if they can pull it off. See if they can pull it up. As we are going to be getting ready here for our next game for Trigger and Harstem. Let's go on Dream and Scars. Dreams and Scars even. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dreams and Scars, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing BASILISK. It is a Trigger. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss from land of the Netherlands representing Shopify. It is a Harstem. Here we go. Whew. So again, the next set of lineups have been revealed. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. And again, we at least have the 2v2 confirmed as well. We regardless of score lines, we'll get there. We'll get there. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. As Trigger does move out, Harstem going pylon expands, a very greedy build here. Again, welcome on all to Dream and Scars. Dream and Scars does feature a pocket base, and Harstem does cut corners, does rush into that natural. It's a very greedy build. Initial gateway has been revealed, and Trigger will confirm the greed of Harstem. But again, there's a ramp coming into the natural base. It is very difficult to punish this. Is Trigger tempted to one base all in? Is he tempted to proxy? I would hope not. Yeah, he expands. Yeah, later expansion for Trigger, so it's going to be a gate expand out of Trigger. It's going to be pylon expand out of Harstem. So basically Nexus first out of our blue Protoss. Harstem will have the slightly better economy, as we do embrace this map. Now, what I will say very quickly about Dreams and Scars is that the 2-base setup is very secure. The 3rd base is not. You can see here how open the 3rd base is. It's on the same plane of elevation as the attack path. You can knock down these rocks. You can rotate back and forth here at the 3rd, or you can abuse this location here at the natural here. You can rotate over, you can rotate around, wedge yourself in between the natural and the 3rd base, so it can be much more difficult to defend on a 3-base setup, more so than on 2 bases. So we'll see how aggressive our players are planning on being. Trigger does go for a Stargate opener. That is his tech of choice. Did have the faster cyber core because of the faster gateway, so the tech is faster for Trigger. Harstem still has that better economy. Probe does get shut down. And so far, I believe Harstem did confirm. Yeah, did scout the Stargates. Harstem is aware. Likewise, he has a full wall. Jesus, I did not quite notice here, but does fully wall off at his natural. He's got a full wall on top of the ramp. A shield battery is being thrown down. He's looking to defend on 2 bases. And this Oracle is going to have a hard time finding damage. Can still go for the stasis traps, but outside of that, will be difficult to really achieve too much. Here we go. Captain's gonna lead the reverse sweep. I mean, I would say that Scarlett's, if this does lead into a reverse sweep, it would be Scarlett leading the charge with the first win, but sure, can extend it. It'd be a team effort, but let's go. As your Oracle does slip in between the bases, so far, gonna be zoned away. And as we mentioned, again, Harstem is very secure here in 2 bases. Natural's untouched, so is the main. And we'll see where Harstem takes us from here. Again, is contained himself, I should say, so Trigger can freely expand, getting a 3rd. This will allow Trigger to recover economically, getting a faster 3rd base. Faster robo as well, going for immortal production. Remember, the tech was in favor of Trigger. And Harstem going for the Forge tells us that Harstem is not going for a 2-base all-in. Harstem is taking. He's taking up, going for the Forge, +1, Robo into a 3rd base. So I would say that Harstem had a bit of a stronger early game, but Trigger is recovering. Because of the containment that Harstem went for, it means that Trigger can get a faster 3rd, a faster saturation, and Trigger does take an economic lead. The pressure is now going to be on Harstem to recover, to make up for that. As +1 has begun, later 3rd base is now being taken. Technically, Trigger, he should have a boosted economy. He should be able to build up an army first and actually apply pressure and try to break the 3rd base of Harstem instead. Adept does confirm. So Trigger, he scouts, he confirms that there is an expansion, that there's no 2-base all-in. Trigger going for his own Twilight Council. Never mind. So Trigger is going to be more defensive. He's going to be staying at home and getting into his own Blink, getting into his own +1 and Forge. We're going to have a very slow game. We're going to... we're slowing things down. I was like, oh, Trigger, he can like build up first and push first. No. So, I mean, could still be the case, but we're working on those upgrades. It'll take some time. We're having a much more passive PvP here. With +1 finishing, Harstem can start to be active. He has a more mobile composition. He has Blink. As his 3rd is just not getting up and running. And here comes Harstem. Does move out. Harstem, he should not be able to break Trigger. Remember, Trigger, because of the earlier tech, he had the earlier Robo into earlier Immortals. With the Immortals, he should be able to hold on to his 3rd base without too much issue. 4th base is being taken. And Harstem is taking up even further in towards Disruptors. Oof. Yeah, Harstem has to back off. Again, this position cannot be broken. So Harstem backs off, the Disruptors are going to be on the way, and we're getting into the mid-game. We're building up into the mid-game. Now, ideally, Trigger gets his own Bay and gets his own Disruptors as well, and we get Disruptor versus Disruptor. Without that, I would give the edge to Harstem when it comes to the quality of the army. Disruptors, they have a lot of potential in PvP. Yes, you can blink away from Novas, but Immortals cannot. So the main target should be the Immortals to bring them down. Likewise to force out Blinks. Soldiers do rotate. Trigger does defend. Get up to 4 Immortals. I would say up until this point, Trigger has the greater army, thanks to all the immortals, but that will soon change as we build up more disruptors. But Harstem does need more time. So far, he only has one. Only one disruptor so far. Needs to build up a little bit further. Prism is on the way, indicative that Trigger, he will now move out. Trigger has +1, he has Blink, and he can soon reinforce across the map. And can Trigger break Harstem before he hits critical mass of disruptor? Before he hits critical mass. Likewise, if you notice, Harstem's done a great job at hiding his disruptors. Trigger's not aware. Yeah, Observer goes down. Hallucinations are getting sniped. Trigger, he did not get into the main. He did not scout the bay. Trigger, we gotta send it. We gotta go. There are 3, soon to be 4 disruptors. Trigger taking a 5th base. Dark Shrine is almost done. He's getting into DTs. Again, Trigger has to be so careful not to get baited in. Disruptors moving forward. And Trigger now spots them. He's now aware. Never goes up. Ooh, no connection. Nice splits. Ooh, so far, decent splits here. The Novas do connect with the Immortal. And takes out one Stalker. No major pickups here. Trigger, he can't overwhelm. He's maxed out. He's breaking on through. And he does strike just before there's too many disruptors. Again, only one never really connect. Ooh. Does graze the army. And Trigger, he's here to end it. He's here to end it. Oh my god, we'll lose on Immortal. He blinks in. Yeah, he breaks through. He breaks through. He dives on the army. Takes out every disruptor. Yeah, 3 disruptors go down. Boys are being pulled. And Trigger, he will overwhelm. GG gets called, and Trigger, he does extend the lead for his team 4-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Does extend that lead. Again, Trigger, he had a bit of a stronger mid game. As we mentioned before, Harstem, he was able to build up on 2 bases faster, and then he contained himself. Trigger was able to get a faster 3rd base, faster 4th, faster 5th, greater economy, and build up those immortals. As we mentioned before, there was going to be a window in time where Trigger had the stronger army until Harstem hit critical mass of disruptors, but didn't quite get there. He got up to 4 disruptors towards the end of the game, but no major connections. We saw him graze and take down 1 immortal, but alas, the Novas were lackluster, and Trigger broke through. Did break through. GG, well played. And with that, we are now getting ready for our 2v2, and the pressure is on. The pressure is now going to be heavily on Harstem and his new teammates, Harstem and Scarlett. Now, Scarlett was the only point that Shopify have gotten so far in this match, in this team league match. Can she be a part of the next one? Can she? How experienced is Scarlett in 2v2? That's the real question here. As I mentioned before, Harstem and Lambo, they're one of the stronger duos in the league in this tournament, but Lambo isn't here. ByuN struggled previously, and ByuN has been kicked out of the duo. Harstem was like, get him out of here. Wait, look, I appreciate it. We got to shake things up a little bit. Scarlett does step into the ring instead, and we'll see how Scarlett manages in 2v2. Let's go. As Scott's also a little bit less experienced in this matchup. One moment. Let's go. Let us go. This morning in the top right hand corner here of Gem Garden, we do have the orange and red duo. We have the Finnish Zerg player Serral alongside the Canadian Protoss Trigger. We have BASILISK. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have their opponents. We have the teal Protoss player from the land of the Netherlands. We have Harstem. We have the Canadian Zerg player in Scarlett. We have Shopify. Here we go. Whew. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew, I do apologize for the stream going down for a moment there, but We're going back in. We're going back in again. We have mid-series between BASILISK and Shopify, and we are in our 2v2. I had, fun fact, I just finished the intros, and then bam, the internet died for a moment. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Again, usually our internet's quite stable, but I'll be honest, over the past couple of days, the internet has been a little bit shaky. It's been a little bit shaky over the past couple of days, so hopefully things are able to be continuing as smoothly as possible. As for the time being, again, we are mid-series. We are in our 2v2 portion of this best of 9, and the pressure is on Shopify. They are... oh. Not again? Are we good? Jesus. I think we're okay. Oh God, I'm terrified, man. I'm terrified. But again, do apologize. Did lose a bunch of viewers. Hopefully we're able to get everyone back and get everyone involved. To update the title. For now, we did have Harstem pylon blocking Trigger, so a nice little start here for Harstem. Going to be delaying the expansion of Trigger, and again we have Trigger and Serral up against Harstem and Scarlett. This should be fixed for the VOD though. For the VOD, should be able to splice it all together and continue as if nothing had gone wrong. But for now, going to be a Stargate opener out of the Trigger. Likewise, do have our faster expansion from Harstem. Outside of that, nothing too crazy. I say that gases are now being taken. Oh, it was a gas-less opener out of Scarlett. Okay, so Scarlett did open up with a pool hatch opener, so later gases from Scarlett, typically indicative of instead roach play, as Scarlett should be skipping link speed because the gases are so late. Gases are so late. Twilight Council opener out of Harstem, going into faster blink. And we do see Serral going for a massive surge of lings. Okay. 16 lings in production. Will be soon moving out. And it does move out across the map. If you recall, Scarlett was cutting corners. Scarlett has nothing to defend. Oh boy, Scarlett has 2 lings, a couple of queens. The Ling Flood is coming. We do see that likewise Harstem doesn't really have much to work with either. We do see the Oracle ideally is going to be distracting Harstem. Lings, they move in, they come in for the surround. Here comes a warp in, diving on the Stalkers. Yeah, Stalkers are surrounded. They're going to pull one after the other. Ooh, gets into the mineral line. Probes are going down. A nice damage here by Serral. And he's moving in. He's going for the kill. He's going for the natural base. Ay, ay, ay. Unfortunate greed here from Harstem and from Scarlett. Lings, they come in for the surround. They lock down the sentry. Oh, sentry falls. And this is brutal damage. Oh no. Threads the main. Okay, Scarlett does hold. Ling's very clutch Ling timing. Oh no, but the stasis pops off. Double Oracle into the main base. And Harstem's being pulled apart. Harstem's being pulled apart. So much damage at the natural. Damage in the main base as well. Now going for the shield battery. Getting whatever they can. And Harstem is crippled down to 20 probes. Scarlett didn't lose many workers herself, but it was Harstem that was targeted. Harstem lost stalkers, sentries, probes. Harstem is crippled. And behind this, Serral freely expanding. Just getting a stir base up and running. Likewise, Trigger freely mining on 2 bases as well. Oh, they knew that the captain, he was the one to target, Bappy. They yeah. Brutal damage. And it's going to be difficult to recover. Very difficult. Unfortunately, Harstem and Scarlett were just a little bit too greedy. They failed to scout the move outs. And Serral's coming in with a second wave of lings. Does move in with the second wave. You can see that Scarlett had nothing in production. I believe Scarlett was feeding, or Scarlett is feeding Harstem. It makes sense. Like, Harstem took a lot of damage. Harstem needs money. Harstem's going for a massive gateway explosion. And yeah, Scarlett may not make anything from here on forward. So basically, Harstem's going for an all-in. Harstem's going for a big all-in. It's trying to at least. And that's why Scarlett has 0 units in production, because she's giving all of her money to Harstem. She's giving everything to Harstem. There we go. We have some lings in production for Scarlett. Gateways are on the way. Oof, Links they bust into the mineral line. Yeah, they bust in, layer is complete. More Stalkers getting picked up. And again, the Harstem is built up to this army. Oof, Prism goes down, no more reinforcements. And the all-in is failing. The all-in is falling on its face. GG gets called, and with that, Scarlett and Harstem, they tap out, and BASILISK, they will claim this series 5-1. GG, Trigger and Serral, they win it all for their team. GG, well played. Congratulations here. Congratulations to both Serral and Trigger for claiming the win. I do apologize for the stream going down as the series was concluding. Like the internet couldn't last like another like 5 minutes. we almost fully wrapped up the first series, but again the stream did go down, so a little bit shaky there. But regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to BASILISK, as we can switch our scenes over and catch up on the bracket itself, as we did have there we go, we did have BASILISK winning it all. Again, we did see that Scarlett was the one player to put a point on the board for Shopify, so very nicely done. I was a little bit concerned that Scarlett was going to be the weak point in the team, just because Scarlett has been less active, is a little bit more rusty, and without Lambo as well, I mean, the 2v2 was going to be that much weaker. But no, Scarlett, she was able to hold her own. She was able to have a very strong showing against Trigger on Mothership. But alas, everywhere else, we saw that BASILISK was able to pop off. I mean, they were the stronger team. With a team containing both Serral and Reynor, it is very difficult to bring them down. And likewise, Serral and Trigger are much more experienced in 2v2 as well. Not with each other, but in 2v2 in general. And with that, GG. Congratulations to BASILISK. They do claim the series. Shout out to Shopify for posing a threat, for making a series out of it somewhat, and for making for some really fun and exciting games as well. GG. GG, well played. With that, we are halfway through the broadcast. We're halfway through, and we have one more upper bracket semifinals match left here today. We are going to be getting into our next matchup. Bam! We're getting into Team Falcons versus Team Liquid. Oh boy. We're going to be going on a break, and when we come back, we'll have our next best of 9. And I'm hoping we have more of a back and forth here. I'm hoping we have a more competitive series. Best of luck, as of course Team Falcons is made up by Solar, Rogue, and Bunny. Team Liquid has Mana, Clem, and Cure, and Skillus. Nikita is also going to be available here potentially. I'll be honest, seeing that Nikita, that Skillus, he's not a part of the initial lineup, I'm going to assume, similar to Lambert, that he's not available, that he might not be available here to compete. So Skillus might not be here to be able to show off and to be able to be a part of the lineups. We'll see as the series progresses. For now, we're going to be going on a break, and we'll see you guys soon after the break. See you soon. Bye. See you soon.